Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how did you know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast, our Wednesday night show. Tonight, we're going to be doing the human design of James O'Keefe from Project Veritas.
I can't wait. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be a very good one because when I was putting his chart together, I was like, oh, he's totally in alignment with what he's doing. So
Yeah, he really is. I love it when people show up and start being what they're made to be. It's great.
Yes, absolutely. So, but before we do that, guys, I'm your co-host, Jen, and Decoding the Matrix First is Danny Guru. You guys know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the show, share this out. And yeah, we're going to, if you guys don't know who James O'Keefe is or Project Veritas, I highly recommend that you go to Rumble. Most likely you'll find more of their stuff, but
you'll find him on YouTube as well. But he was kicked off of Twitter at one point.
Yes,
he did get back on.
Yes, but I've been following their work for quite some time. He's got one hell of a record.
Well, James has been one of these characters who Project Veritas. He's just another citizen journalist with a camera and some experience. He'd been in some kind of not show business, but he loved his camera, bottom line. And, as he was growing up, he tried to get the scoop on things. Mm-hmm. And then this just parlayed into his very first story that he broke was here in Massachusetts, the housing authority for all the fair housing and this and that. They were doing some really just crooked stuff. Trapping people in places, and they didn't care, and they talked about it very flippantly, and they made some incredible admissions, and it created quite an uproar. And no one wanted to bless you, and no one wanted to talk about it at all. And I had two of those just before we came on, and
it's in the air.
Been doing it ever since. He's the guy that he catches people. He's like Candid Camera, except he asks them the tough questions. So it's striking what he's done with everything and what Project Veritas does. So might as well just pull up his chart.
Absolutely. James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe. So I'm going to get rid of this thing in the way. So I love this. We keep pulling up these charts and we keep finding, Jennifer, that there are some really unique things that seem to keep going on. One of them is this is the second or third person on the cross of service, meaning they're here to be focused and concentrated to be of service to things.
Yes, and he's exactly doing that.
He's literally exactly doing that, and his profile
ruthlessly, actually.
Ruthlessly, he's ruthless about it. There's something else that keeps showing up: open egos. I mean, that's not uncommon. The majority has 65% or so has an open ego. It's just that you figure the people proving it are the ego people. But lo and behold, as you well know, us open ego people, we're even more driven to prove it over time. And so I'm just noticing this is an interesting, because think of all the stuff he's got to come into and run into and be part of. And be an open ego amongst all that ego energy. And he just walks in and does the thing. And so I'm going to hop straight into just his definition. That's sort of what stood out to me. you see all this openness everywhere, right on his chart, head, open throat, oh my God. And, what about all these not self characteristics of these open centers? And while I'm sure they're there, as long as he was generating a response into something he was focused on, literally, that would be of service to others, it just gives him the strength to just sort of power through. He powers through responsively through each of his things. And so, first definition on the left, 58 up to 18. This is the channel of correction, the channel of judgment. It's about, so it goes to the spleen. It's a motorizing the spleen. And the spleen is here to, keep us safe. The spleen is also here to have this sort of intuitive knowing in the now. And his connection to it is unconscious. So unconsciously, James is aware that unconsciously he has to correct things and challenge things. He has to. It's part of his incarnation cross. I mean, it's literally part of his incarnation cross. And because he's a excuse me, a 4/6, that means he was living out a third line profile up until not long ago. I mean, he's only born in 84, so it's not like he's super old.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah, right. And so here he is in the first 28 to 30 years of his life, bumping into all kinds of different opportunities until he starts to find out what is it that he wants to do. And he's aware that gate 58 in this channel of judgment, needing to correct things, a insatiable fuel, a joyous fuel that is so pleased when it sees something it can correct. And so 58, he's aware of. It's like, I want this. I think I want this. And what he's not aware of, and he's become aware of over time, is that he's got this defined spleen that is a single definition, defined spleen that is intuitively pointing him to what to look at. This man has a news sense. He's a newsman. That's what it translates to. It's a news sense. Let me read the line for you. It's kind of incredible. So 52/4 of this 4/6 profile. By the way, later in the day, things did change in his design, but we're going with this one. So self-discipline, the energy for restraint, which recognizes the value of stillness when focusing. Oops. So he's always able to basically sit still and focus on the facts he's going to now challenge and correct as part of his incarnation cross. This incarnation cross makes a definition, and that doesn't happen in all crosses. It happens in some. And he's got this incredible ability to basically sit still and be focused and concentrated to challenge the things that need correction. He's always looking for stuff that needs correction. He found a whole market for himself in order to do things that need correction. And now, I mean, he might as well change the name. He changed the name of his company when he got kicked out of Veritas. I'm not sure why no one knows what happened there, other than he broke the story on Pfizer and suddenly they ousted him. Yeah, big mystery there.
When did that happen?
About 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Big story. He caught a Pfizer executive. One of his colleagues went undercover and pretended to be gay and tried to and date this gay guy who was one of the lead people in their research team. And he was young. It's like, wait a minute, what do you mean you're a vice president, of this and that, and into the research? He clearly, he didn't seem to belong in the title, in the job that he had. But regardless, he got him talking. So what's going on there, Pfizer? What's going on? Oh, we're doing this and we did that. And he admitted everything. He admitted all the stuff that we've been looking at as it relates to the whole nest. And then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, the board votes him out. So it's like
interesting.
Yeah, he starts.
Normally, there's something going on when they do that.
Well, yeah, a week and a half to 2 weeks earlier, he upset one of the more powerful companies on the planet. So, but he did it anyways, and they did it anyways, and he might as well take it. So he switched companies. He basically started up a new one pretty quick, called OMG. I think it's called just OMG something, OMG Newsroom or something like that. And he might as well just call it Correction Newsroom, because he's going to continually challenge any type of authority that says, no, you can't. That's what this channel brings. It brings someone saying, no, you can't, and James O'Keefe saying, oh, yes, I can, simply from hearing, no, you can't. No, you can't is a challenge to the challenge of authority. I mean, that all by itself wouldn't even matter what they said, no, you can't to, unless they said, no, you can't breathe in space without a spacesuit. He might agree with that. Okay. But short of that, he might not, I don't know. You can't say, no, you can't to this man, because the next definition you look at, which is 52 going up to 9. So this is logic. Both these, the last channel we just did, which is all about correction, the fuel to identify and correct things, and be deeply identified with it, with what you're correcting. That's the thing. So it's a life force inside of him. It's like, I'm identified with this. We're going to get it. So his whole life hinges on getting the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, the information that he gets, and it's putting his life on the line with some of the stuff.
And he's driven to do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sun's force driving in and being grounded in the earth. So when I get to 58.4, now remember what fourth lines do. Fourth lines are externalizers, fixed in their nature. I'm externalizing this fixed trip. Let me tell you this story. And they have something to say. It's It's a transpersonal line. Even though this is a personal destiny cross, a right angle cross, this is a strange cross. It's a changing place, because both of the lines, the 4 and the 6, are transpersonal. 4, 5, and 6 are transpersonal, and 1, 2, and 3 are personal to the person. And so it's a transpersonal cross, but it's not. It's still a right angle cross. So he's deeply self-absorbed in the fixed trip that he's going to talk about. You can't shut a fourth line up once they start going. They can't stop talking. Like someone breaks up with him in high school and he just keeps having stuff to say. But honey, what about all logical stuff? Focused and concentrated on the logical reasons why are we breaking up? He's one of them. So, I'm not sure if he actually did that, but that would be something you would see here. So this channel 52.9 says, I'm focused and concentrated on the things I'm going to challenge and the joyous fuel I have to correct this stuff. And I'm a generator, so this stuff is going to happen in response. And I'm a fourth line, so I'm going to externalize that as soon as I know. I'm fixed on this thing. I want to be influential. I will be influential. And he's got a great team. Wherever he goes, whatever team goes with him, he's wicked friendly to them. Just generally speaking, fourth lines are friendly by their nature. And then so you move up to the next, the third definition he has, 5 to 15. I have this channel, the channel of rhythm, the channel of being in the flow. And basically it creates a magnetic aura that doubles the aura. If you have this channel, your aura is automatically double whatever it was before, because it's designed to attract things into the flow. So what's the flow for him? The flow is correction and service to whatever the thing is. And what's he doing with that? He's focused and concentrated on bringing something new and getting the scoop. And so can anyone take him off of that? No, because he's got a fixed nature that when he gets fixed in his rhythm, all the other rhythms must basically bend around him. It's not slavery. It's not coercion. It's just the natural tendency. The other people will basically step into his flow, and this is why he makes such a good newsroom man. He brings a flow into the newsroom. This is exactly what you want in a newsroom. Someone hungry for the scoop, a fuel and a joy to find it. Does it challenge authority? And is it something we need to correct? Does it logically need to be corrected? Even better, let's run it. Let's get the story out. How, James? Well, I'll be focused and concentrated on it. Don't you worry. I have the power to sit still in inaction while I focus with this incredible sacral energy to just keep focusing. How am I going to do this? In a rhythm, in a flow that you can't knock me off. It's hard to knock James out of his flow.
Yeah.
It's wicked hard. So I'm in the flow of chasing down the story that I'm super concentrated on, and look the hell out because it's part of my incarnation cross. I will correct that which is wrong. I'm going to challenge this stuff. You cannot stop me from challenging it. I can imagine there's moments where he's scared to death and he still can't help it. Right? I can imagine there's moments where his open head, his open option are like, I'm not certain. Like, is this the right thing to do? And his open ego is wondering, am I good enough? And then boom, the thing happens. And in response, he's like, hey, why are you running? If you've ever seen James O'Keefe, he's got a huge laundry list of people that as soon as he reveals himself to them, they run away. They
Yes.
running. It's like,
Yes.
it's like, hey, why are you running? And he starts running after him. And it's so funny, Jen. It's like they know they're caught. That's what it is. And James knows he's on the right side of the story. He's just on the right side of the story. You know what he broke recently? 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, he broke an incredible story. He was knocking on doors of elderly people, announcing himself and asking, are you aware that you've donated, $500,000 to the Democratic National Committee? And they're like, no. I was like, well, do you know this name? He's like, yeah, I think I may have donated to that once or twice. Somebody was running a scam to pour money into the DNC, apparently, allegedly. And he was showing them the statements where it was like, look at this. According to this Freedom of Information, you donated every day, mostly 2 and 3 times a day, anywhere from $50 to $200. So by the end of the year, are you sure you didn't donate $242,000.58 to candidate such and such? And they were like, no. So
wow.
House after house, he knocked on the doors. These elderly people were generally home. They were generally very sweet to him, and because he was polite, he's got that Richie Cunningham look to him a little bit, right?
Yeah, he does.
He's always got that suit and tie look, and he's just got a great demeanor about that stuff. And so he's going to break more stories, and he can't help it. And somehow or other, he manages to transcend and overcome one not self theme that I'm certain is, if he's married, I think he is married, is sometimes troubling to the missus. Is that open throat, because in order to get the story, he's dreaming about all the attention he's going to attract. So that story doesn't just represent the truth of the story in his psyche until he gets read and starts to recognize his nature. Maybe,
he is married.
Okay. And so the missus sometimes says, James, do you have to chase this one so hard? Do you have to run the story now? It's 2 a.m. But this drive, the open ego that wants to prove it, the open throat that wants to prove it can attract all the attention and say the right things. That fourth line then starts to work for and against him. I'm going to speak. I'm going to talk. I got something to say. But in an open throat, it's I have to speak. I have to talk. I have to say. And so there were times, I'm gonna is, after a good night's sleep. I'm going to wake up and do it after I have some, quality time with the family. And sometimes with him, it's not that at all. It's like, sorry, honey, it's 2 a.m. I have to, because that open throat makes it. And then the open head and the open ajna makes him cling to all the questions to ask and the certainty that he feels he needs to bring. So when you wrap it all up, it's a lot of not self-action that could be going on here that isn't. Or if it is in his personal life. I promise you, it is to a degree, but he transcends it on a fairly regular basis because he keeps popping the story. Whatever it is he's done, we've seen this definition. A couple of our clients, Jen, have this. Jess has that configuration: head, ajna, throat, open, and we've had to work with that a lot. It's a thing. I add up my 4 open centers and I come up with a thing. I have to work with it. I'm always having to watch it. I mean, you and I know about forgetting to losing track of when it's too much pressure. And we have to realize it 10 minutes later, a minute later, a day later, whatever.
Yes, I'm recognizing the pressure, and I'm recognizing where the pressure also tells my undefined sacral when enough is enough, not enough,
yes.
So I am recognizing that. I can only imagine it coming from up top.
Right. And it comes from all these places. And as you know your design, you start to recognize where things come in and what they are. You put them, you get to file them away and start to understand what makes me type thing.
Yes.
So James has been loaded down with plenty of nervous energy about the confrontation and the things he doesn't always feel worthy about, trying to prove things that he can speak the truth and challenge the authority and become certain about all the things that don't matter. So it's sort of a cacophony. But when we get back to this person who he does have a gate 10, it's twice in his body graph. And gate 10 is the love of the self and the behavior of the self. He does have a set of morals that he sets up, gate 22 on his design side, line 2. That gate 22, line 2 says, I have the grace to listen. And it's about basically taking, a second class seat, being willing to sit back and be the listener first. So I know he's able to do all this listening and drive a direction, and he's got gate 38 in the third line. So he's a fighter. He fights. He's got 38 and 39. So those are going to be in his node somewhere. Nope. See that he's got 38 and 39 off of the root center. When that's in a cross, it's the cross of tension. Yeah, it's like a smile. And so that's the fighter and the provocateur. I'm going to provoke things. He's got a unconscious gate 3 coming off of this sacral center at the bottom, pointing at the root. And gate 3 simply says, I'm bringing new order to things in a flash. So in a flash, he's provocative and struggles with them and comes out swinging, and so that he can correct the stuff that he was previously focused and concentrated on getting the scoop on, while he sat in his own rhythm and is like, I'm just going to get the scoop. Well, if not today, tomorrow. Well, if not tomorrow, the next day. It's like you throw a scoop in front of James. He's like, I'm just going to sit in my flow. It's my rhythm. Or James, it's going to take weeks. Let it take weeks. That's the rhythm we're in. And so he was always able to just patience. This man has incredible patience. That's what this incarnation cross has the tendency to bring when you're acting it out, when you're living it out. Because it's got to identify what will it be in service to, and that service must be shared. So if you serve the wrong things, boy, that's a problem. You waste part of your life serving the wrong things and stuff. So this 58-4 that's in his body graph, that's at the sun, it's the earth, right below the sun on the personality side. 58, the vitality, where stimulation is the key to joy. Make it stimulating. So he's grounded.
Oh, he definitely makes it stimulating.
Yes. And for his own self too. Please stimulate me, that says. Right angle profile. So I'm me, generator. Who am I? So please stimulate me, and make it stimulating. So as soon as the scoop is stimulating and he gets to find something he can correct, that joy, that vitality, that's the name of the gate, the joyous. That's what the I Ching called it. The Chinese, 400 years ago, named this genetic construct the joyous. Imagine the joy you feel. Yes, well, your identity.
I think that's the hummingbird.
The
spirit animal.
It could very well be. If you have that spirit animal book, that would be kind of cool. I'd love to see what 58 is, and I'll keep talking if you're going to look it up. Yeah, that would be a good one. I want to see that. So what logic says when it's coming out of this gate and coming up this channel, it says, I've identified something. It's worth correcting. My whole design is behind it. If I get there, it's so good. Isn't it so good when you figure something out and now you can repeat it? The first time you could ride a bike and you logically pedaled and put forward and knew to keep your center of gravity, and then finally you're flying and you're free and the training wheels are off. Joy from a logical process. Logically make the wheel stand upright. Dad taught me, mom taught me, pedal forward. You had to put all the components together, just like playing a board game. You had to read the instructions logically.
Yeah.
And so that's what this joyous is. It's a joyous, insatiable hunger for the pattern that you can identify. And in his case, the hunger is to blow it up.
Yes, literally. So in the book, 58 is a hummingbird.
Oh, I love that. That
Mhm.
reminds me of James buzzing around collecting nectar.
Yep. Hummingbirds are bursting with energy, vibration, and beauty. Their little bodies are constantly moving between flowers and vibrant colors, searching for a stance before they suddenly turn and embark on an epic journey to the north or south. If hummingbird hovers by you, then a time of joy is available. Observe where you're focusing your vitality and replenishing yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So they use the word vitality there.
Yeah, yes. Well, hummingbird is also the spirit animal that you use in the Moonlight Key shamanism. So,
Sounds like vitality.
yes, it is. It represents a lot of good things.
Well, I like the sound of that, Jennifer. And so
Mhm.
James represents a lot of good things. Again, I don't know what it's like at home. This man is a little bit difficult to be around sometimes. So we'll say the missus. So somebody found it in her heart to love this man. um, it's I'm making husband-wife humor.
Yes.
It's all
Well,
good.
I mean, he's got a outstanding, everything that he reports is backed up.
Yeah.
He does an amazing job bringing stuff forward to the truth that needs to. Truth
Listen,
needs to be revealed. You can't trust the media; they don't tell the truth.
they don't tell. Yeah, they just everyone knows that at this point. So that 58 line 4 specifically, I'll read both the white book and the black book version. It's a natural specialization that when confronted with multiplicity of stimuluses, meaning a lot of scoops, a lot of stories, a lot of things, a lot of facts in the story. So when confronted with all that, we'll have no inner difficulty on focusing on the appropriate things, the appropriate influences. So direct call out to the fourth line, which seeks influence. It's the energy to fuel the recognition that of which stimulation is of value. So it's this communication with the spleen to recognize in a sacral moment, right, in a generated moment, which thing is of value. So that just says this fourth line is incredibly fixed and steady. And so they throw 100 things at James, and James is like, I was focused and concentrated in my own flow, traveling this one line here. I'm going to follow it up, even though all this other stuff is coming in on me. Another indicator of a dog with a bone. You can't take him off the story. He's Johnny Scoop. He's the newsroom boy. He's Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and the little newsroom boy, all rolled up in a one. Mr. Scoop. And so, last thing I can really point out about him is well, a couple things, just two more things. The nodes, meaning this trajectory is going to travel. So the nodes are both 16 and 9. And 16 and 9 are directly in harmony with his profile as it relates to this. These are also logical. Everything in his cross and his nodes has to be shared. His trajectory guarantees he will share his love of correcting things and finding out basically getting to the truth. Logically, by the way. So you're right. Every time he puts his notes and his stories are pretty watertight. He won't run with them until.
I mean, he literally gets the information where the other person can't dispute what is being presented, because a lot of it's recorded out of their own mouth of what they're talking about.
Right. Can't say you didn't say it. Here, you just said it.
Yes, and he gets them on video. Like, I think everything that has been presented in court has not been thrown out. Like, they cannot discredit.
Right. No, he hasn't lost. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he hasn't lost.
Yeah. And he's had to go to court and he has not lost. So because the nodes on both sides are in 16 and 9, 16 is incredible enthusiasm. So his path towards life was always going to be a form of enthusiastically identified with what is it he wishes to externalize to the world. That's in his own flow will help challenge various aspects of a logical process. Hi, we're in a society, it's broken. I'd like to challenge that. Hi, everyone's getting a jab and not everyone's making it. I'd like to challenge that. And so it's a guarantee that he will do that. It makes up the rest of his definition as well. It's just incredible that these things line up so much. The one is the one on the nodes on the personality side are a harmony to the four. So he's always building a foundation. He's a design to build foundations, except that's his path through life, not his mental process per se.
Right.
His path becomes foundational. And then on the left-hand side, that third line is a direct harmony to the six. So his whole way and his whole incarnation process are in harmony to each other. It's quite a thing. And they show up in how he operates. Last thing is the arrows, mostly strategic.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mostly strategic. He's got a sharp eye, sharp mind, sharp thing. And when you got 3 to 4 left-facing arrows, you've got to be identified with the work you're doing, or else because strategically, you're not open and receptive. So James can't hear, dude, this is a bad story. He doesn't hear that. He's not open and receptive to that easily. He's open and receptive to logic only. Someone will have to hold him. James, look, see, guy didn't do it. This was a mistake. Oh, okay. Then he's off of it. Short of black and white, someone logically being able to present why something, he can't hear no to any of that stuff because he's strategically focused on chasing one avenue of wherever he's going. So, Lord have mercy on the person James focuses his attention to.
I think he's proven that.
Yeah.
That's why people will run from him too.
They run. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Why are you running? And the whole crew is jogging behind the guy, and there's James jogging. He keeps up with them. Why are you running? They try and run into a door and it's locked, and they have to keep running. Was it Ivory Heckler? I think. Not sure.
Hold on. I want to say that is the Houston reporter that was on Project Veritas. And yes, that's it. She was a reporter here in Houston. I cannot remember. Fox 26, which it's Fox Channel. And she did an interview with Project Veritas on, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the stuff that they had been reporting on the, with everything that was going on. And she, I think they fired her. They'd been terminated her. Now she's doing her own thing. She's got her own channel reporting news and stuff like that. So
Good for her. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
A lot of individuality in this body graph, even though there's no definition, there's a lot of individual gates. So he has his unique experience over and over again. And that's about all I have to say about James. He is Mr. Scoop. Basically, he becomes this unstoppable force that through the joy of seeing what he can actually make of a story, slips into his own rhythm, becomes focused and concentrated, and has characteristics of the Unabomber in that way. LOL.
Well, what he's doing is much needed. So as long as he keeps exposing the truth, keep doing it.
Yep. Love you, James. Glad you do what you do, buddy. It feels right. So on Sunday, you want to hear what we're talking about on Sunday?
Sure.
The Penta. We're going to reveal what is this Penta. Everyone keeps talking about the Penta. We spoke about it once before. It's this transauric field that sits above us, and as soon as there's 3 to 5 people together, a new an organization starts to take place that we're helpless to. It's in our families. It's everywhere. And so it's a diagnostic tool to show a family what's going wrong inside the family.
Oh, fantastic.
It's incredible that way. I can tell. Look, I can look at 3 charts and point immediately to one of 2 or 3 things that show up right away, and it's all because there's this organization above the family that is making them be a certain way because of their contributions to something called a penta. Penta just means 5, and it's a transorg being, meaning it doesn't have form, but it's alive. It can't speak. It cannot speak, but it's alive. It's alive as soon as we come together. We create something that's sort of alive with us. And then as someone goes to the bathroom, and now that thing changes. It's a new life form. And then they come back and someone else shows. It's always mutating. There's a being above us that doesn't have form. We can't see it. It's organizing us deeply. It's one of the things, it's a great homogenizing force to keep humanity from just going off the rails. We've been homogenized by the penta like extremely, and it's time to step out of that. But the penta will always be there as soon as there's 3 to 5 of us in any one spot. You get a whole group of people and there's multiple, the penta is changing, and there's 5 and 6 of them, just they're always chugging along. And inside of a family, I point to a missing gate and I'll be like, you guys have problems with discipline and you think it's a problem. You guys don't get out into the world. You guys think you have problems with money. You guys never demonstrate out in the world as much as you think you want, and you think that's a problem. You know, all of these things, and it's the keynotes are stunning. Every family has these things because most families are an unfunctioning or dysfunctional penta.
Yeah.
Most
that'd be an interesting topic. So,
Yep,
fantastic.
I got pictures and graphs and everything. I'll send to you, and we'll put it up. And we'll probably go at the full hour, if not even a little over. It'll be really good.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification so you don't miss out on Sunday's show. If you haven't already, please make sure to book your session with Dan and
book your session, guys.
Couples, families, and you know what to do.
You know what to do.
Yep. And we will see you guys on Sunday.
Sunday it is. Bye, everyone.
Bye.